Yeah, but, okay, there is presentation. So, hi, I'm Robert. Before SUGCON, I ask you, attendees, what kind of presentation would you like to see? The just console one or PowerPoint with a lot of memes? And results are 50-50, almost. So I prepared two presentations. One with memes, for memes fun, and the second one, this is demo in the console. So my first presentation with memes is why PowerShell, because sometimes people asking me why I'm starting using this PowerShell. Today also I told you some facts about my personality, so please don't share this information in social media because no one hired me. Some time ago, after write 1,000 of lines of code in .NET, I'm start thinking about something new challenges. So I look deep inside into my soul and figure out what it's my preferences. And I like when things happen in automated, unattended, and almost magical way. So I go in that direction and start interested in PowerShell. At the beginning, it was really hard because there is no resharper. So when I'm writing scripts, I feel like I'm using just one hand. But finally, I like it and start using it. Okay, the first, I'm impatient person. I don't like to wait for my job results to compile code, push the code to the repository, and waiting for CI, CD, deploy the changes, and verify it. So with PowerShell, there is no issue because I can write the code and run it on a local instance, or I can even run it on some remote machine. So I don't have to wait for all this stuff, which is, of course, good and required. The next thing, there is no sound, is the power. I think that almost, there is something. I think that everyone would like to be powerful, have unlimited possibilities, and this is something that PowerShell gives you. Microsoft called this product PowerShell for a reason. It's not MS Shell, Bash, Cloud Shell, or whatever. It's PowerShell, which means the sky is not a limit. So I also like it because with PowerShell you can automate almost everything. What would you like to automate? For example, if you run some VM in any cloud provider, PowerShell there is on this VM. So you can just start and use it and automate some tasks. But this power, using power with some unconscious in wrong way have consequences. And Microsoft team know about that there is big power inside this tool. So provide something like what if, and this is kind of my rule. If commandlet or some module do not support this, I'm not using it because it's dangerous. Because if this gives you possibility to check how the script behaved without the perform some action. So just display information, what action will be performed on what component. So it's very useful. You can easily debug and check what will be the output of the script. And finally, I'm PowerShellholic, so I use PowerShell a lot. So this is my first presentation with memes. Now I will switch to the console. But I have to do something with come on. Yeah, duplicate I have to. Oh, yeah. Okay, boom, 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 safe in the room. So this is this is the first thing. So I'm not why, maybe I'm crazy, I decide to do this. Okay, so agenda for today is quite short. Why PowerShell? This is already checked. You cannot build something advanced without fundamentals, so I will talk a little bit about the fundamentals. And if you're trying to do something, it's good to have good tools for that. I also mention about this. And finally, I will show you how to build the Civ scripts a little bit smarter than just executing the tasks. Okay, I think I highly recommend you, if you are new, for example, in Civ World, it's good to watch these short videos. It's 8 videos and it takes about 30 minutes to watch them. And this is very basic, very background information, how exactly this framework works and what you can expect and how to extend it, how to use it. Next thing. Oh, there is no. Oh, there is. The next thing is good to explore the basic Civ command that we are using for run the scripts. Because there is a lot of useful tasks, a lot of useful options, sorry. Because I saw a lot of questions on Slack or on different places how to do this and how to do that. And this information is just here, just in the help. So for everyone, you can easily skip some tasks, you can run particular tasks using the options, and you can just run script from task A to task B. You can decide, for example, which part of the script would you like to run. It's good if you try to debug, if you try to rerun the scripts. So also we should dig a little bit and read this documentation. And as you know, and also I saw a lot of that people have a lot of problems regarding deploying web deploy packages. And also it's good to unzip this package, look what is inside, and for example, what options we can apply to this package. Because the default scripts provided by the Sitecore doing this default work. For example, if we have some problems, we can just use and add verbose parameter, and there will be much more information, for example, what's going on during deployment web deploy packages. The next thing is, if we're trying to deploy the scale environment, we have Sitecore on, web application on different instances than database, and you can easily skip, for example, installation of database using just this skip tool. I forgot the word. The skip option. And the same, for example, you can install database without, for example, a web application. So this is quite easy. You have to just, read a little bit about web deploy, and your life will be much more easier. Okay, next thing is tools. As I told you, I'm Inpatient person, so working with creating the scripts in normal way, it's very ineffective. So some time ago, I create and deploy this kind of extension for Visual Studio Code. It's called Civ Snippets, and I will show you how it works. With this extension, you can quite easily build Civ scripts. So and this is the Civ, the basic structure. You can extend it. So because now SIF 2 supporting includes register task. I will talk more about this later. And okay, if we would like to add some parameters, just SIF. And we have some options. Not all are supported yet, but I think that in the next month will be the new release of this tool. So we can create some, for example, parameters, and we don't need to remember all these options, what the options should be, or something like this. Next thing is tasks. With every version of SIF, there is more and more some useful tasks. So we can quite easily use this and just navigate and even read what this task is doing and find some proper task. And here, we have all the information, we have all parameters required, and even I create some help. This is next tool that I will show you. So you can just click and go to the help page and understand, for example, how to use this function and what exactly this function do. And we have also something called config functions. Tasks, it means that we execute something, and config functions is return some value. This is, so for example, SIF config functions, and we have the list of all config functions provided by SIF. And let me find something, or maybe this. And we have all parameters that we should provide link to the login page, username and password, and that's it. You can use it, and you don't have to remember how to use it. And finally, not this one, file, new. If we create this JSON configuration file, we have to run it. Even I'm using this SIF very often, I never remember how to run this script. So I prepare something like this. And if we copy this to the to the clipboard, we have the full piece of code required to run our script. Okay, so that's it. And here is the next tool. This is good if someone is new to this technology, to this framework, and would like to explore a little bit PowerShell. So, for example, I would like to do something with XML. So I just put XML, and I have a list of the tasks that do something with XML, so I can easily explore which one task I need. And here is some extension, and this is help, so we can understand what this particular task or function is doing. And at the end, for example, there is some feature that, for example, you would like to display just functions that are new in the SIF 2 if we compare to the previous version. So, of course, if you cannot find the proper task here, you can go to the 6. This is SIF install extension module created by me, and there is a lot of useful tasks that are not in the SIF. And there is also quite nice, I think, wiki with some information how to use some functions, how to use some tasks. So you can easily read this, and of course it's open source, so every contributor is welcome, because if more people have possibility to exchange some ideas or something. Okay. Now I'm not sure if you're waiting for something.
It's paused by clicking.
No. But I have only 2 tools, so. Okay, it doesn't matter. Ah, okay, because he's waiting for close the browser. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now I will show you a few examples how to add some logic to build Cif scripts more smarter. First one is if we, for example, try to install some modules or do something on the Sitecore installation, it's good to know what Sitecore version is. I don't need to configure, for example, it, but just read it from the Sitecore kernel DLL. So I will show example how to do this in quite easy way. Okay, so first we need the parameters. So this is just parameter where we, this is just for demo, we have to provide this parameter, but in normal way we should provide the site name to provide, and based on the site name, we will build the path to the Sitecore instance. But for the demo purpose, I will just use the normal path. Next thing, and this is, in my opinion, the killer feature. I will explain. Example 2 task. Not this one. With this register functionality, you can register any PowerShell function as a Cif tasks or config function. So if there is something missing, you can easily extend this Cif just in that way. And this is just because we have to function name without this char, because Cif doesn't support tasks name with chars different than letters and numbers. So this is this kind of registration. Yeah. So this is just register, and we can, if we register this function, we can just use it in our scripts. Okay. Getting some information about the version is config functions, because we need to return some value. So we do not execute the task where we execute config functions to get some value, and config function return some value. We have to do in 2 steps, because, for example, if we getting the file version in PowerShell, this is some nested property, so we cannot take it in just one config function. But first we have to take file version info, and after that we have to take the version info of the file, and then we have to find the proper property, for example, file version. So that's why we need two functions. If you're wondering how to map this, you can go to the Stack Exchange, and there is the answer. There is mapping each Sitecore version to each file version number. So you can easily create some mapping once and use it everywhere. Okay, and finally, we have to execute our script, so we need something to display. And here also, let's make it a little bit pretty. Here I have 2 tasks. The first one is task that we are using just to show this value, to verify if our script is working. And the second is also a very useful trick, because as I tell you later, you can include a lot of files, Cif files, in one file. And this is, for example, a way how you can pass variables between two different scripts. So, for example, we have one script that read and set this Sitecore version, and we can reuse it in all the scripts. I run it. But this is the whole demo, so I will go to the beginning. Okay. I have to fix something because, yeah, I put this to. Okay. Give me a second. It's live demo, so. Yep. Okay. Run it again. And of course, verbose function is very useful if you try to debug something or understand what's going on. Come on. Again, it's tipped. Maybe I didn't save it. It's Sitecore version. Okay. Oh no, I don't understand why this is still skipped. But we have next script here, and we can check that this Sitecore version variable is set to this version, and we can reuse it in the next script. So I will switch to the next script. I will close everything. Come on. It's again waiting for something. Okay. The second script will file new. Okay, let's give some name. JSON. I have to use JSON name because otherwise this will not work. In the next script, I will show how to, for example, use this value from the previous script. If we would like to download, for example, some packages, we need to know the version, Sitecore version. If you would like to do it in automated way, of course. So now the first script just read this version, and we can reuse it, for example, for download the proper packages for the proper Sitecore version in automated way. So we don't have to think, for example, that this package is required by this Sitecore version or this package is required by this Sitecore version. Without check, we just write script once and just run it. For downloading files from the Sitecore download site, we have to authorize as a Sitecore developer. So we have to provide these parameters. And the second part is this is, for example, because last time I do a lot of with publishing services, I have to install in a lot of instances. Then I prepare for myself some script. And here are information about links and names. Because if you download a file using this download file task, you have to provide the name. Because this task cannot get this name automatically. But in 6 there is the same task, but you don't have to provide the name because this task automatically checks the name and save the file with the proper name. If we have configured all links to these packages, we have to control. The next part is that we have to take Sitecore version, right, from this variable set by the previous module, previous script. And here we can build some logic. For example, depends on Sitecore version, we are choosing the proper module. Unfortunately, it not looks nice, but we have to just do this once and forget about this. And if there is, of course, new version coming, we have to update to the new Sitecore version and new module version. So we have in SIF we have a lot of tasks for some to build some logic, and yeah. And because of this, our scripts can be executed in automated way because we don't need to provide this information because a script can calculate these values ourselves. Of course, we have to register some tasks. Example 3. And finally, we have to execute our files. So based on these settings, we can quite easy add logic to skip some particular task. If we don't need, and depends on Sitecore version, we will download the proper module, and that's it. Okay, so I will try to delete some module. This is the smallest one. Because this script also, as you can see here, checks first if file exists. If exists, then download this. And next checks the Sitecore version to download the proper one. Let's try to execute it. Maybe it works. Now is the authorization. And the file was downloaded, the missing file. So it works. And next thing, for example, that you can automate in your scripts will be because it's here we can create scripts dependent on Sitecore version, and in next example I will show you how to create scripts dependent on Sitecore role, because we have content management, content delivery, etc. Everyone knows that. Not JS. Come on. JSON, where are you? Okay. And again, we need some parameters. In this case, will be just the name of the site in the Sitecore, in the IIS, because we don't have to pass other things. We have to calculate where, based on the site name, we have to calculate all paths where the config files are. So this one can we do by variables. So this is just kind of basic stuff that we build the path to the folders with application configuration, with a publishing service, and this is, yeah, based on just joining the paths. And here's more. Okay, and here is the most important thing. Unfortunately, for use this, you have to. Okay, let's fix it. To use this task to test XML value, you have to include a 6 module, because CIF do not provide these tasks. And what we have here, it's also pretty simple. We're just passing to this function the path to the web config, create XPath we created the XPath, and here is expected value. So based on this, we can quite easy, if we installing, for example, some module to the Sitecore, we know that this is, for example, content management, and then we have to install this package in the normal way. And if this is CD, we just need to extract files from the package, and that's it. We can also build script based on, depends on what kind of search we are using. If publishing services, there is some manual step that we have to switch indexes to Solar or Azure, and also we can do this in an automated way. So we don't have to think it, what is configured on each instance, just read it from the script and use it. Okay, so here is here is an example how to enable disable files based on this variable. So if there is Solar, we enable Solar files. If there is Azure search, we are enabling the proper files. So next thing that is quite simple to apply and to use it, but it looks awful. And the next one is, it's 4. Here I'm just displaying these variables because, yes, module installation takes some time, and I want to do this during the demo. And here is at the end of this file. I will check something in this file to prove it, that it works. Okay, and in this instance, we have configured content management and processing, and content management is set to the true, and content delivery is set to the false. Let's change it. And now we have a different situation that this, we see that this is content management and this is content delivery, and based on that we can make our scripts more smart because we know on which instance we are. And we can apply the proper, you can execute the proper task, depends on the Sitecore instance. Okay, and the last thing is, let me open. Where is it? And next simple script is how we can easily configure SMT parameters just after Sitecore installation. So we don't need to remember how to configure it and etc. Where to configure it. This is ready script. We have parameters as usual for SMTP connection. And we have additional parameters for AXM. If we are, for example, using different SMTP settings than the regular Sitecore, because we have in Sitecore we have two, right? You know that. If you would like to, for example, reset password, you have to configure SMTP in the Sitecore configuration, and AXM has separate configuration. So, for example, if you would like to use different parameters, we have to create parameter with reference. It means that it means, for example, if we do not provide password and user and server name for AXM, the same settings will be used for both. And for the regular Sitecore SMTP settings, we are creating the patch file on the fly, because this is best practice. And for AXM, we're changing parameters directly in this file. Why? Because this task supports only the standard patching. I will show you. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, and after execution, we have patch file to use in our instance, right? So after Sitecore installation, we can just configure our SMTP server, and yes, that's it. We can store these values, for example, in Azure Key Vault, and in automated way take it. So we also don't need to put these variables in manual way. And here we have the exm smtp config, and we pass here the parameters. What I mean that this patch task do not support, because the regular patching inside regular Sitecore patching is patched by, for example, by value, and here Sitecore use this configuration in different way, and there is no something like name or value. So if we would like to patch, we have to first delete this server and then apply new, which looks awful. But probably next version of 6 will support also patching this in proper way. Because this is not best practice, right? Changing parameters directly in the config files. It should be also provided by the patch file. Okay, this instance is waiting still for something. Okay, and that's it for my side. Do you have any questions?
I first came across SIF with a CTP of 9, and I found it very sort of terse, certainly with regards to errors, and it's always seemed very difficult to work out exactly what the issue is. I had an issue with regards to my first issue that I needed to come across was the fact that we hadn't actually got a valid license for Sitecore 9, but never actually got any feedback to that. I mean, I even went back to Sitecore to try and get support, and I just wasn't getting anything out that I could give them information that they could pinpoint and say, oh yeah, it's because your license was not valid for this. And I've not really had much chance to touch on SIF since. I'm assuming that you've spent quite a bit of time from early on, if not CTP, right the way through. Is that improving? Because I didn't really see anything that was telling me that, you know, that things like SSL certificate issues I had an SSL certificate issue, and I had a Sitecore license issue, and I couldn't tell the difference as to which issue was which.
Regarding license, so I think that this.
I just mean in general. It just seems to me that if something goes wrong, it seems to go wrong in sort of a catastrophic way, and doesn't really give me the feedback that I can go, right, okay, this is related to this, or this is related to this.
Yes, but with certificates, I think that everyone has an issue.
Yeah.
Because it only works on the clean installation of Sitecore. If you have clean system, there is I have never issue, but if developers try to install this on some instance where you already install Sitecore, yes, the SIF doesn't support it well.
Okay. As I say, I've only really been exposed to it with the CTP, and it was then, within a couple of months, it was SUGCON, and Sitecore 9 came out, and my client couldn't afford to spend any more time before that looking at it, and I've just, you know, I've been away, I was away from it for quite a while, so yeah. All right, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's true. It's not easy to use this SIF.
No, it's not easy, but with those SIF snippets that you got, it definitely helps, and you have to get a hang of it, I guess. So,
yes, Sitecore now has the proper tool to make releases faster.
Yeah, but it's a pretty powerful scripting framework. Yeah, so I would say.
Yes, it's powerful. And
any other questions?
Yeah, the code snippet that you showed us, is it a part of your SIF snippet solution, or they were prepared just for this demo?
No.
So, for example, for downloading the publishing services, is it part of the?
No. This snippets that I use here is just for the demo. So to not tape everything, just uses this snippet. Yeah.
But do you have plan to, for example, to include them into the Sitecore install extension?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
To make it.
Thanks.
Yeah. And another thing is that these two tools, this SIF snippet and this Explorer, are generated in PowerShell. So this is no manual work. Just the new version is coming, just run the script, and we have updated version of SIF snippets and updated version of this extension. So this is
in the Habitat Home Git repo, they're using the same things by downloading stuff from dev.sitecore.net. So there is on GitHub with Habitat Home, you can actually investigate those SIF scripts, and there are some things in there that you can actually probably that Robert did as well. Yeah. And build it in Sitecore Install extension.
So I'm trying to understand the actual value that Sitecore SIF versus Sitecore 6 plus the whole tool set that you showed today brings. So how would you compare the speed for spinning up a new instance with SIF only and with the whole tool set like 6 and all the other tools?
With SIF, we can only do what Sitecore provide, right? So this is for me, this is the main limitation, and the release is after, I don't know, half a year. If we have some open source extension, we can quite easily apply something and use it, yes? If I need something, I just create task and that's it. And test it, and we have this. So the biggest value is have this kind of solution open source. And for example, in that case, 6 is not required because we can, for example, push our ideas to the mainstream and everyone can use it.
Okay, thank you.
But this register is excellent. It's killer feature of SIF 2, so because we don't need to write some special task, we can just use the PowerShell function. So this is really cool stuff. And includes, of course.
Any more questions? I would like to thank you, Robert.
Thank you.